Do not apologize. I'm not calling you again. I don't even know who you are.
Move on with the day. West Coast.
I can't help that. You're a horrible person. All right, everybody. Big, huge, ginormous, ridiculously amazing day today. We have a special, not guest, we have our newest APP trainer, consultant, ridiculously amazing insurance agent on the team. Drum roll, please. We are pleased to welcome today's podcast, Stephen Harrington, the diva of insurance, is officially on the APP team. Even though Stephen, like 95% of the insurance community already thought you were on the team. And when you opened up Diva of Insurance, you sort of broke LinkedIn, I think, too. And everyone was like, are you still across? So would you like to tell a moment of your story? And then we can dive into how we handle rate increases in insurance agencies.
Absolutely. I'm actually very excited. So a few years back, I started Diva of Insurance, which was consulting for Hawksoft customers. That grew and grew. Kelly and I had a lot of customers together. We did a lot of cross referrals. Everybody thought I worked with her or she worked with me. So when it came time to grow Diva and take it to the next step, the logical thing was to call Kelly. So I am so excited to be joining the Agency Performance Partners team, where we are going to break the internet once again with everything ridiculously amazing.
Yes, and to have secretly, I'm so excited that we have West Coast representation being so East Coast. As much
West Coast.
I know, and I love our West Coast clients. Like, I love them. I've told you many times, like, top secretly, I'd move out to the Washington area. It's one of my favorite places. I think it's beautiful. I just love the vibe. But the plane ride, I could do without.
Yes, just like traveling to the East Coast is quite the chore for me.
Yes. So Stephen has how many years insurance experience?
Almost 20.
Whoa.
I think February of next year is 20 years.
And you got into it because you were working at a bar and just like
I was a bartender and bored and needed something more responsible in my life.
Something to do during the daytime hours other than hanging out with the daytime bar crowd. And so now we are so gifted and blessed to have Stephen Harrington here, a longtime friend, partner. You might have seen him in some of our videos. Many people adore you in the role-playing videos, just for the record.
Yes. Well, and I think that's part of why people think that I work there is I've done some videos and other things with you in the past.
So true. So true. We're super famous in the insurance community. So Hawksoft users will be happy that you're on board because you do have a big background in Hawksoft and big background in operations, big background in splitting up service and sales teams. So super excited. And that's why I needed you on this topic today, which is how agencies should handle insurance rate increases.
Ooh, rate increases. Who doesn't love a good rate increase?
Well, I do. And I think owners do because it's an instant pay raise.
Mm-hmm.
But the staff tends to feel a little differently about rate increases. So in your experience of running agencies, like when you would get the notification from a carrier that a rate has increased, what would happen to the staff? Like, can you be very vivid and paint the picture of how staff reacts to those emails?
Oh, it's like they're a bunch of chickens with their head cut off. They're running around like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Susan's rate just went up 3%. And I'm like, it was $120 policy to begin with.
But we're going to be okay.
$3.33.
I think that it's really hard on them because many agencies, there's no training for the frontline team on how to handle rate. And then the second half of it is they all think about, well, like in my table, at my dining room table, how would my family respond to this when gas is up and everything else is up? And so they jump into this mode. I call it like they want to fix the rate. I want to fix this for you, Stephen. Stephen, look, I got it down. You're actually paying $96 less. Don't you see so much value in us for doing that?
Right. And I think that they get so worried. I think it's two-part. I think it's kind of what you said. They're shopping out of their own pocket or they're worried about what would happen at their house. But I think they're also trying to be a people pleaser, like right up front, without asking the client's thoughts or opinions first. Yes. They're just assuming there's going to be a problem and they want to fix it before it happens.
I wholeheartedly agree with that. And I also feel that no one's taught somebody how to confidently talk about rate, right? So instead it's like this fumbling around, kind of like nervous conversation. I am very like stringent with agencies. We do not apologize for rate. And I hear all the time, like, I'm so sorry your rates went up. I'm so sorry. We're going to look into this for you. I'm like, what are you sorry for? What did you do wrong? They got a DUI. I can't help that.
When I think, did you set the rate or did the
No.
carrier set the rate?
And the benefit is getting to work with an independent agent because you can look at other options. It's not like take it or leave it. This is it. So we are super strong. Don't apologize for the rate. The second you apologize, you admit fault. Now the client feels like something wrong has happened to them and they had to call you to fix it.
And I think we get a little excitable with the rate too, to where we're not looking at the underlying reason for the increase either. It's just that you see a percentage or you see a number and you're like, whoa, 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 like I need to fix this. But we're not looking for tickets, we're not looking for accidents, we're not looking for young drivers or vehicles, we're not looking for any of those things that could affect the underlying rate.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. I think that one, everybody has to take a chill pill about rates. They're going up. That's happening.
Yeah.
The cost to rebuild my home last year at this time, different than this year at this time. Insurance companies have to adjust on that front. What we need to do is instead is work on showing value. So in my experience, there's like 3 ways that agencies handle rate. One, they don't poke the sleeping bear and they wait for people to call them super ticky pants. And then it's the you people keep raising my rate.
We people, yes.
Yes. You, Stephen, went in and
I was like, oh, Sharon was mean last month. I'm going to increase her rates at the renewal.
And by the way, I'll go ahead and, make sure that my rates go up too. I'm going to pay nothing for my insurance.
Right.
Because you pay nothing
Insurance
for
is
your
free.
insurance, right?
Yeah, my insurance is free. When
They
I
pay
tell
me to have it.
when I tell some of the staff in the office how much I pay for insurance, they all go, I'm like, I
Oh.
believe in protection. I
I've
believe in
never
value.
found someone that pays more than me.
No, I'm sure I don't pay as much as you
Well, no, I mean like not like that, but like
with your 18 policies.
yeah, well, and just like in general, like I do believe in coverage, so I agree with that statement wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
So they wait till people call them, which then everybody's scrambling. And my philosophy in an agency, like we do not want scramble.
No.
Scramble is great for eggs, not great for insurance. Or it's stressing out the team because I think every time the phone rings, they're going to get yelled at by rate. That's not showing your value. By waiting for people to call you, you show zero value to your client, and then you expect them to see value in coverage. Probably not a good look.
No, not at all.
Option 2 that we see a lot of agencies do is they put the flag or the trigger in their management system when something goes up 10%, 8%, whatever number. Again, every marketplace is different. Some people down south are like 10%, ha.
In Washington, we're like, ha.
Yeah. They pick this arbitrary number and they call people or they automatically reshop them and then call them one or the other and then let them know the awesome news.
Right.
What's your feeling on that model? Because I think a lot of agencies practice that model.
I think it's a huge time suck. I mean, if we look at it, was something that we used to do at my prior agency all the time because we were trying to be helped. Then once we started looking at the numbers, it was 1 in 4 or 1 in 8 that we would actually close or be able to move. It was a lot of times it was still in the ballpark. It was still a better coverage offering. It was a better rated carrier, whatever that may be. But at the end of the day, we would run 10 quotes and maybe only one of them somebody would even be interested in.
Correct. And the preemptive strike remarketing doesn't take into account other policies, updates, changes. Does the customer even care the rates went up?
I don't know.
Usually not.
No.
But now we've alerted them.
Probably I should contact them prior to the renewal to get some of that information.
No, that's what number 3 is.
Oh, being proactive?
Oh my gosh, my favorite thing in the whole wide world. Many of you may know Stephen was chief operating officer at Cross Insurance, and we worked together. And we got, when I say we, I mean like 10% me and like 90% Stephen, got everybody in the agency to make proactive renewal calls. And I'm just curious because like people, like if somebody's driving right now, they might be driving their car into a tree, like call every customer. Are you freaking kidding me?
Right.
Like, we don't have enough staff as it is. They're all going to revolt. They're going to walk out. We're going to end up reshopping. We're going to open up cans of worms. Like there is a lot of head trash out there about this. So I would love for you, if you don't mind, to share what you learned from doing renewal calls now for what, like 4 years, right? It's been like 4 consecutive years.
It was things that I already knew. It was just once we started practicing them, it was very eye-opening. So I think the biggest part about being proactive is 80% of the people never answer their phone. And of that 80%, 75% don't return the call. So you have maybe 25% of the book you talk to at any given time over the course of the year. But the nice thing is we're letting them know their policy is coming up for renewal, that we're here for them, that we are going to take a look at it. And if there's something crazy or wild, we'll reach back out.
Yeah.
Or if they see something and they have questions, call me right away. I'm here for you.
You're building relationship.
Right. So then when the renewal hit, it is a large increase and they haven't talked to us, and finally they call in a fit of rage, the first thing we do is we look at our file notes and then we say, oh, Mr. Smith, it appears that I left you a voicemail and sent you an email letting you know that your policies were renewing and I wanted to review those with you. Is that what you're returning my call about? Totally knocks the wall down 99% of the time. The customer's like, oh, yeah.
About that.
Wah, wah.
About that.
So I'm really excited you're returning my call now. I need some updated information and we'll take a look into that for you.
It's 100% control.
Right.
It's control of the call. And it's also doing the right thing. Like people don't like insurance. And if we sell a policy 4 years ago and I never hear from my agent and I'm just like, I should look around, I'm not calling you again. I don't even know who you are. I don't remember who you are. I see the carrier name in my bank account in the policy. I don't remember who you guys are.
When there's one agency that I've worked with in the past, Diva side, they would only call on increases. So it's kind of the opposite message. Like I just expect to call every year if my rate goes up. And if I don't get one, I'm like, oh, I guess they don't care this year.
Well, and I struggle with that too on the only calling on increases because that conversation is so much different.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people get twisted about rate. Account managers get twisted about rate. Like imagine that your job, and some agencies have one person that does this, like dedicated to it. And it's like, imagine all day long calling 15 people and telling them that their rates went up.
Not a fun job.
No. And then like your default is reshopping, right? Because you don't think of any of the other value. I'd much rather call 2 people whose rates went down and 1 person whose rates went up and go for it. But it's amazing when you can control that conversation.
Absolutely. And I think that at first it's scary. Like even I was like, how are we going to call this many people? Like we're going to try. We're going to go ahead and we're going to, eat the frog and we're going to give it a whirl. And if it fails in 30 days, it fails in 30 days. And then I was like, it's not failing. Oh, wait. It's still not failing.
People actually kind of like it.
Wait. The number of complaints and angry customer calls are going down. The account managers actually have more time because they're not dealing with last minute problems.
You mean renewal calling every customer saves time?
A whole lot of time.
Yeah, the older I get, like the more even an APP and stuff like that, like I hate the scramble. Like I hate the last minute stay up till 3 a.m, or just all the last minute stuff makes me really uncomfortable because I don't feel prepared and I don't feel comfortable. And I think when you don't have a renewal strategy, especially in personal lines today, you're putting undue pressure on your staff. A lot of people want to get off an uncomfortable phone call, right? So if you're telling me you people keep raising my rates, I want off that call as soon as humanly possible. And I want to go fix your rate. So I'm going to take an application from 3, 4, 5 years ago and rerun it, not getting any of your updates. You're shopping. I don't get the opportunity to look to say, where's your auto? Where's your home? Let me cross sell you. That's going to drive the biggest discount. And I'm quoting at a disadvantage and wasting a lot of time.
Right. Very much a time waste.
Let's just say that, we've got all these agencies out there, rates are going up. How does someone have conversation about rate? I think that there's a twofold, right? People are still going to call in, even, and some agencies out there, they're not going to make every renewal call. I understand that. Like, I wish the best for you. And if you do want to, you should call us and we'll help you.
Well, and we don't call on every renewal. We try to reach out once a year.
One time.
You've
got Sally CSR, who is maybe more on the timid side. She's looking at Stephen Harrington's rate and it went up like $300.
Try $200 a month.
Ooh, those are fun. Usually when I got $200 a month, there's something that happened.
Maybe.
There's something that occurred, right, wrong, or indifferent. What kind of advice do we have for that person of how to get comfortable having those conversations, right? Because I could see my 20-year-old self being a little bit intimidated by it when $200 to me was like my car payment for the whole month.
Right. And I think really what it is, once you start making the calls, you'll have a lot of positive, then you'll have the ones that are a little tougher, but you just get more comfortable with it. And as you get to know the carrier better, you're going to see day after day, like carrier A across the board is a 15% increase. So it's an easier conversation. It's, hey, understand things happen, but across the board, here's what's happening in the industry, and just kind of knocking that down and not taking it personal. I know that's really hard, but taking that step back and just saying, you're not my mama. I'm here to help you, but I'm not going to let you hurt my feelings today. Yeah,
100%. They're not mad at you. They're mad at the situation. Like I get the pleasure of flying a lot and I crack up because when like a flight's delayed or whatever's going on, like the people who lose their mind at they're not flight attendants, but like the airport help, whatever, the desk people.
The ticketing agent.
Yes, ticketing agents. I'm always like, you're a horrible person. Like there's whether there's, like a broken plane, like why are you losing your mind on this person who's trying their best to calm you down and you're being belligerent? And I just want to be like, I hope you choke on a pretzel.
Yeah.
But
like
not on
everybody
my
in the airport's
plane.
like, oh.
You want to hear the worst plane story I ever had? I'm going to divulge this on a podcast. Usually it takes me 2 drinks to talk about this, but
Uh-oh. I'm excited.
I was super crispy at the end of one year from flying. I think it was like one of my last flights of the year. And it's like 11 o'clock at night. And I might have been spending like 2.5 hours in the Sky Lounge drinking considerably. And so I mosey on down because I'm like, I'm a little tipsy. I don't want to miss my plane. So, like I didn't want to get distracted. So I mosey on down. I usually come down like while it's boarding and they come down and the plane's still delayed. And this woman next to me was like, listen, can you believe that we're going to be late coming home? I'm like, well, it's the last flight of the night. Nobody's got a connection. Like probably just gonna be fine. She's like, this is an outrage. I go, I fly every week. This is really not that bad. And she's just like, I can't believe you're not more mad. It's like, I'm not that mad about it. So then the plane gets delayed again. I just have my little earbuds in and I get really upset at airports. Like when you see people's earbuds in, that means they don't want to talk.
Very
International
true.
sign.
Very true.
Don't talk. She kept like touching me, which I also have an issue with strangers like touching me.
Yeah.
I don't
want you to listen to my stories.
Yeah, I just don't touch me. Like I don't know you. We can be friendly, but we don't need to touch each other. So then she's like, they just delayed the plane again. I'm like, okay. And she's like, this is ridiculous. And I said, you know what? I'm actually not going to get on the airplane because that airplane is broken. And in the event they don't fix it correctly, I don't want to die next to someone like you. And I took my drunk ass to like the Delta Sky counter. I was like, I can't get on that plane. They're like, okay. I was like, I can't talk about it, but there's an infraction from the guest and I just can't get on the plane. What do you have tomorrow? And they're like, no problem.
That's amazing.
I'm a horrible person. We got off topic though, but in case anybody out there is either laughing right now or like, wow, we're going to take APP off the list of places to talk to. Or I just got a lot of street cred. I don't know. You'll be there soon, Steven. There soon. I also think that there's something I want to talk about on this podcast. One more item before we have to kind of wrap it up. But we also strongly believe in agencies having what we call remarketing standards. So like we have new business standards, right? We're not going to write this. We're not going to do that, which is great. But we don't do that on remarketing. And a lot of times the people that we're remarketing can be our lowest tier clients. It's an opportunity to like release them to our competition. But instead, we're going to spend an hour plus remarketing them.
Right. So I think there's a couple different things to look at. One is it monoline?
Yeah.
If there's a cross-sell opportunity, great, let's do it. If not, is it fit our model and is it the perfect customer for us? How many times have they called? What's their billing history? What is
How
the
old
client
are
profile?
they? What kind of property? I just think there's so much on that front that we should be looking at. And I'll say twofold on this. I also see a lot of agencies where the producers dictate the remarket and they just take their whole client list and they're like, reshop them. And I'm like, why? We want to make sure that they're getting the best rate. And then we go back and find that they have not even presented those quotes to the clients because they just wanted to see or they got busy. And I'm like, we are wasting our time and spinning our wheels in that situation. So if you have producers and account managers, either personal or commercial, there should be agency guidelines for what gets remarketed. Now, there can always be an exception to the rule, but that should be a request or talked about first, not just here you go. I mean, that's huge, right? That would save so much time in agencies.
I think so. I think the other is like over a certain percentage sometimes makes sense, but still reviewing for violations. Is it going to fit another preferred market? What can we do with it if we were to reshop it?
Yes.
If I have a DUI in an accident and the preferred market renewed me, I should probably be thankful and take the renewal.
Yes. I also want to say, I think the other component of the remarketing guidelines is it empowers the team to understand clearly what's expected of them. It's notorious in agencies, a client leaves and the first thing the leader or owner does, it goes, Steven, did we reshop them? It's like, well, we just got in a meeting or told me not to reshop people. It's like, well, we just lost them. Like we can't Monday morning quarterback all of this either. Right. We have to get creative of how we're going to enforce just the idea of this is the guidelines of remarketing. And we want to empower people to think about the cross sell first, think about the discounts, think about running credit scores and updating those. Like all those things should be done before we go down that path.
Verifying discounts, making sure they're getting everything that they're supposed to be getting.
And guys, in personal lines and homeowners insurance, the inspections are coming back rough. So we're going to save someone $300 and it's going to be like $3,000 over here. No one wants to have that conversation. We should be talking about the inspections before we reshop anybody.
Absolutely. carriers are hungry to find things to not write.
I like the way you put that. Like the way you put that. What would be your parting final words to people out there on how to handle rate? If you were going to sign off your State of the Union address on how to handle rate, what would be your number one tip?
Be proactive, take a breath, take a look, and decide what needs to be done. Move on with the day.
And I'm going to tell, like, mine would be don't apologize. Do not apologize. Follow the agency guidelines. Don't lead with your heart of thinking that you're going to fix people's rates, because most people, you're not going to fix their rate. And it's got to be about coverage. If what Steven said of doing the renewal review calls in advance, that's going to add enough value so you can have those conversations. When you're only calling for the first time in 4 years to tell people that their rate went up 10%, you can imagine that there's not a lot of equity in that relationship to be able to really have those conversations. I will say we have our retention program where we will help you go into your agency and get people making the renewal calls. Now, people are always like, you could get my staff to do that. And I'm always like, I have a pretty high success ratio.
Yeah.
And once they see how it works and we bite-sized chunk it in over 6 months and the little engine that good comes up, then we've had agencies that have fallen off due to a variety of reasons, short-staffed or an issue or whatever, changing management systems, right? And inevitably they're like, once they feel the pain of operating the old way again, because it's kind of like it's not overnight, it's like a gradual reduction of things. And so then they go back and they're like, we need to get back on the renewal calls because this is whack.
Absolutely.
If you think that your number one concern is your staff will revolt, I'm going to tell you that you will lose people by continuing to be reactive because their job is harder than it needs to be right now.
I think so.
Yes.
I have, do we have just another second for a quick story?
Oh my goodness. For you, we have
For me.
9 minutes.
Love it. My agent, who I love to death, don't want to throw anybody under the bus, she's very on top of my account, watches it like a hawk. I have a very specific auto carrier because I like to rent cars and travel frequently. So I like worldwide coverage. I like my drop down first dollar liability. I have all kinds of bells and whistles on my policy because I wrote it myself many years ago.
It's pretty. You have a pretty
It's so
policy.
pretty. It is the most gorgeous thing with a bow on it that I wish I could sell to everybody. And it's tied to my umbrella that's worldwide and got all kinds of little bells and whistles in that too. And I get a call about a year and a half ago and she goes, hey, your auto policy went up $230 a month. I'm like, okay, they renewed it? And she's like, yeah, but did you want me to reshop it? Now, I worked there for a while, so I know what market she had. And I was in the only market that was going to take the driving activity that may have showed up on the... It was an accident and a speeding ticket. It was not anything more severe. But 2 boo-boos in 6 months can cause some problems with rate. And I go, so they didn't non-renew? And she's like, no, they just charged for it. I'm like, we're going to pay the bill. Can we pay in full? And she's like, well, but it's $230 more a month. And I'm like, but they renewed it. I don't think you hear what I'm saying. I'm ecstatic that we don't have to go try to find another market. And she's like, I don't know if I've ever had that reaction from somebody with this kind of a call. And I'm like, well, because you call on the defense, like you're like, oh my God, you're never going to guess what happened.
You're making it a big deal.
Like you make me all excitable, and then you don't have a solution because there was nowhere else I could have gone anyway. And she's like, okay, I see your point, but you want to pay? I'm like, yes. Like, can we pay it now? Just take my money. Like,
I don't want them to change their mind. I want it right now.
If we have to reshop in 12 months, great. At least it gives me 12 months to mentally prepare for this situation.
It's funny you say that because that happened to me. My husband, I'll throw Andrew under at the bus. Like, you're more kind of whatever your driving situation was, but Andrew drove by.
Maybe it wasn't mine. Maybe it was.
Yeah, exactly. We don't know. Andrew's unknown to many. So he drove by a school bus with the stop sign out on video camera because the school buses like now do that. And we actually had our attorney go to court because you have to go to court because it's like that big of an offense in Rhode Island, like mandatory legal date. And so we got as much of it taken care of as we could. And so the rate went up. And I think it was like about the same, right? And so the woman called me up and she's just like, I'm working on reshops. I was like, stop it right now. My husband's going to pay for that one dearly for the next year as I remind him of this bill every single month of what an idiot he was. And he's just like, but that's so much. I'm like, stop it. He drove by a school bus with a stop sign out. I'm lucky that I haven't killed him yet.
And we're lucky that they renewed again.
Yeah, and at the same time, he goes out and buys like a brand new truck.
There you
go.
go.
I was like, so in that's where we get all tripped up, like that assumption game. I think think is huge. So the big takeaways are, think about how you're renewing policy. Think about the training for your team. Like, people get trained on how to write a policy. They get trained by the carriers, but we don't talk about the soft skills. And that's where they're at every single day. And especially many of our agencies are using virtual assistants to take the back end work, which means they are on the phones more, which is where you want them. Which means we need to be able to control that conversation. And as an agency leader, you need to be leading that conversation and explain to them how you want it, your agency to, for your brand values and for your philosophies, present that. And we need to say, it's okay if some of these people leave. They're not our fit. They're not our customer. And if they find another home, that's more than enough time.
Absolutely.
That's our strategy. All month, we're talking about retention strategies. So, Stephen, I think you have a blog that you're going to be doing.
I have a blog coming up at the end of the month.
Do you remember your topic?
Cross-selling at renewal.
Oh, what a good topic.
If I remember correctly, cross-selling at renewal.
I was just going to pull up what our topics are. So we've got cross-selling at renewal. We have how to increase retention. We have how to make proactive renewal reviews. So how to get it started. So, saucy. And just so you guys know, you can get this in our school. You can have Stephen, myself, or Heath do this virtually with your team, or do a combination of virtual or in person. So there is no excuse. You can either do it yourself, have a video coach, or have one of us go out for steak dinner and martinis after.
You now have 3 to choose from.
You got 3. It's like picking your favorite Barbie. Anywho, we got to wrap this up. Thank you, Stephen. We're so excited to have you. And anybody interested, let us know. Check out the show notes. We have some free resources in there, everything from our remarketing standard guide. We have a process pack on how to stop a cancellation with a discount for you, or information how to learn more about our retention program. So we are signing off. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.